All right, are you ready to run it back? I'm ready to run it back. Let's run it back. We're talking NFL picks for week 3, Sunday's games, both the 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. slate. My name's CJ Curry. If you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed yet, well, it's a great time to get subscribed. We're 13-3 on our last 3 PrizePicks NFL videos. Let's see if we can keep that positive momentum going today. Hit the subscribe button, slap the like button for me. You guys absolutely killed it with over 240 likes in our last video. And also make sure you ring that bell so that you're notified anytime I drop a new piece of content. I don't want you missing out on any of this PrizePicks value before they get bumped up, bumped down, or taken down from the board, as PrizePicks tends to do. But without further ado, let's go ahead and slide on over to the PrizePicks board and see what we got cooking for today's video. I try to cook up about 6 different picks, but to be honest with you, at this point, we're about 12 hours away from the start of the NFL slate for Sunday, and the value is kind of dry right now, but I did scrape up a few picks for you guys to consider. First and foremost, if you guys don't already have PrizePicks, get PrizePicks now. Your first $5 that you play on PrizePicks, they're going to give you $50 back. That's their current promo that they're running. Use code CJ Curry and make that first deposit. I've left a link for you down in the description of today's video for you to get started on PrizePicks today. It's daily fantasy made easy, okay? Another reason to get started on PrizePicks, if you haven't already, Caleb Williams. They're still doing a Caleb Williams free square over on PrizePicks, meaning if Caleb Williams has at least 1 passing yard or more, basically you win that pick. Then you only need 2, 3, 4, or 5 other picks in order for you to win up to 25 times your money. So definitely make sure you're taking advantage of the Caleb Williams free square. Now, outside of this free square, what are some other picks that I'm liking today? Well, we'll start with this first one. Zamir White, running back of the Raiders. He is sitting at 15.5 rushing attempts, and based on what I'm seeing on various projection models, the same projection models that we used in our previous 3 videos, the same projection models that have led us to hitting on 13 of our last 16 picks, they like Zamir White to go under 15.5 rushing attempts going up against the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, Alexander Mattison is sitting right behind him on the depth chart. He's going to probably cut into Zamir White's workload. It's kind of a RB1, RB2 situation, option 1A, option 1B. So, yeah, you could see some Alexander Mattison potentially if Zamir White's not getting it going early, and Zamir White has not gotten it going in the early stages of the season in weeks 1 and 2. So let's take a look at this one real quick. Again, I always provide projections to give you guys a better idea of what the models are saying here. These are not my projections. I don't make them, I just use them. And I recommend that you use projection models as well. But let's go take a look at the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. First and foremost, Zamir White sitting at 15.5 rushing attempts or carries, however you want to phrase that. You got about a 50 to 51% chance that he's going to stay under 16 rush attempts, okay? So it's not exactly a home run type of play. There is still very much risk involved here based on the odds that we have in our favor here. So let's go and take a look at some of these projections. We're going to head on over to Fantasy Labs. Fantasy Labs is one of my favorite ones to use. If you're not using Fantasy Labs, check them out. They use 2 guys that are really sharp, Sean Kerner, Chris Raybon, and they are very good at what they do, as you guys have seen if you've been following my videos the last 3 videos. But yeah, Zamir White projected by these 2 guys at 14 rush attempts, putting them under the 15.5 marker by 1.5 carries. So that's a nice first projection. The blitz is the other one that I like to use. So we'll go back to that one and we'll look at the rushing attempts that the blitz has up here. And they have them at 14.94. So a little tighter projection according to the blitz, 14.94. We'll round that up. We'll call it 15, but still less than 15.5 nonetheless, right? So we'll go ahead and lean toward the under on that. In case you're wondering, Zamir White is 2 for 2 at going under 15.5 carries thus far. 13 carries has been his season high to this point against the Chargers, and then he only had 9 carries against the Ravens last week. So we'll see what happens this week against the Carolina Panthers. But so far, he is 2 for 2 at staying under 15.5 rushing attempts. So that's your first pick. Second pick, we're staying in the rushing attempts category, and we're going to go to James Conner here. Conner's going against a Detroit Lions run defense that has been very stout early on here in weeks 1 and weeks 2. Lions not giving up a whole lot of rushing yards per carry. They've done a pretty good job against the run so far, and hopefully they do a good job against James Conner, and they kind of discourage the Cardinals from giving Conner more than 16 carries. If they limit him to a pretty inefficient game, you could see maybe Arizona abandon that run game altogether. But nonetheless, of course, this one is projecting well. I don't play it unless it does project well, so let's go take a look here at the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. If you want to get your hands on this optimizer, go down to the description of today's video. I've left a link in there that will save you money on your first month. Use code Curry, sign up for the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer, and you can get your hands on this game-changing tool for PrizePicks, Underdog, Better, and your favorite DFS pick'em sites. But yeah, James Conner sitting at 16 rush attempts, a little bit over a 51% chance that he stays under this number. Take a look at the projections once again. Going back to Fantasy Labs, they've got him projected all the way down at 14.5 rushing attempts. So quite a big difference when you look at the line of 16 on PrizePicks. So good first projection. Second projection is going to be brought to you by the Blitz once again. My guy Derek Carty doing his thing here. You can find this over on EV Analytics or Roto Grinders, but they've got James Conner sitting at an even 15 rushing attempts, putting him under by one whole rushing attempt versus his line on PrizePicks. So how has James Conner done at 16 rush attempts this season? Well, thank you for asking. 16 rush attempts against the Buffalo Bills in what was a close game. The game last week against the LA Rams was a total runaway, a blowout. The Cardinals got up by buku points, and they were able to just basically turn the ball over to James Conner and feed him the rock over and over and over again as they chewed up clock. I don't think they're going to have that luxury against the Detroit Lions. This game's projected to be a pretty close game. I think it's just a 3-point spread favoring the visiting Lions in this case. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, definitely an inflated number last week with him carrying the ball 21 times in a lopsided victory for the Cardinals. So Conner under 16 rush attempts is your second play. Now this one might raise some eyebrows. It's Xavier Legette of the Carolina Panthers. He's sitting at 16.5 receiving yards. New quarterback for Carolina. Bryce Young sitting on the bench. The old veteran Andy Dalton is back, gang. Andy Dalton is that little turd in the toilet bowl that just won't go away. No matter how many times you flush it, the little nugget keeps rising to the top. And here Andy Dalton is again, starting for, God, I don't know how many teams he started for at this point, but nonetheless, it's got to be an upgrade over Bryce Young, right? So hopefully Xavier Legette goes over 16.5 receiving yards like he is projected to do. Let's go take a look at the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer and see how this one's looking. These are not the most plus EV plays on the board by any means, but you are getting a little bit of value here. 17.5 receiving yards over on FanDuel. He's at 16.5 on PrizePicks. A little bit more than a coin flip of him going over 16.5 receiving yards. Where these really shine is on these projection models. So let's go over here to Fantasy Labs. We'll hit the receiving yards category and take a look at Xavier Legette's projection. 23.2 projected receiving yards. Again, his line is 16.5, so he's projected to go well over the 16.5 marker. Second projection for Legette. Back to the Blitz we go. And they've got a pretty nice projection for him over on the Blitz. If we take a look here at receiving yards, he's sitting at, well, there. No, that's Xavier Worthy. Well, he is projected to go over. Let me do it this way. Xavier Legette. There we go. 32.8. I got it, gang. Technical difficulties. But I'm only shooting this video once, and we don't edit around here. 32.8 receiving yards on a line of 16.5. So a massive projection. The Blitz is really liking Xavier Legette to go over against the Las Vegas Raiders. So there you go. 2 different projections for him there. Now, how has he done this season? Well, he had 35 receiving yards in the opening game against the New Orleans Saints. Last week against the Chargers, 0. He put up a bagel, a donut, a goose egg, okay? So hopefully he gets back on track with a new quarterback under center. They're more than likely going to pass, fairly often. And this isn't the worst matchup in the world going up against the Raiders. So hopefully things turn around here for Xavier Legette in his 3rd professional game. But the projection models are really liking him to go over. Got 3 more picks for you. Before we get into those picks, if you're looking for a kick butt community, we're sharing picks, plays, parlays, stats and information, and more in our Dub Club. That's right. I've partnered up with Dub Club. I've got my own Discord, and basically for as little as 67 cents per day, $5 a week, $20 a month or less, you guys can get access to everything that I'm playing, not just the picks in these videos, but other picks covering other apps like Underdog, like Better, and covering other sports outside of the NFL, like the WNBA, MLB, esports, and everything else in between. So if you want access to that, I've left a 7-day free trial for you. Check the comment pinned down below. All right, back to the video we go. We got Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, I'm an Eagles fan, a heartbroken Eagles fan, but Jalen Hurts can quickly mend this broken heart by going over 20 fantasy score for me today, if he plays his cards right. Going up against the Saints, not the easiest matchup in the world, but they will have to rely on the legs and the arm of Jalen Hurts to go and get a win against the Saints after a complete meltdown in the final minute or so against the Atlanta Falcons. What a game. What a game. It's rough out here to be an Eagles fan, but like I said, Hurts in a good spot to bounce back here. Why am I taking the 20 fantasy score? Because he is projecting to go over on a number of different models. Let's take a look at the blitz first and foremost here. They've got Jalen Hurts going for as much as 23.2 fantasy score, gang. Right below my portrait, you can see that projection, 23.2 fantasy score. So he's at 20 on PrizePicks, 23.2 on the blitz. We're going to head over here to Fantasy Labs and show you the projection that they have for him. Not quite as high as the blitz. They got him at 21.77 though, close to 22, so that still puts him above 20. So not bad at all. So how has he done so far this season? He's 1 for 2. He had 19.42 against Green Bay. He threw that last-minute interception. Otherwise, he would have been over 20 fantasy score in that game as well. And against the Atlanta Falcons, he actually did play pretty well despite a late interception in that game as well. So the interceptions are a little worrisome. They are a little troubling. He did have a couple of fumbles against Green Bay, which greatly hurt his fantasy output. So this number of 19.42 is a little deceiving because I think he had like 3, maybe even 4 turnovers in that game. But nonetheless, 20 fantasy score, if he's got his legs working and he's running the ball, should be attainable for Mr. Hurts. They're going to need him in order to stay close and competitive against the Saints. The next guy that caught my eye was Zay Flowers. That's right. 12.5 fantasy score going up against the Dallas Cowboys. Zay Flowers has done some pretty nice things for the Ravens thus far. Ravens will probably have to keep their foot on the gas against a tough Dallas Cowboys team with a good offense. They're not going to be able to score enough points here to keep up with Dallas. Basically, both teams pedal to the metal. We need all the points we can get from both of these teams. Anyway, Zay Flowers looks like he's in a pretty good spot as well. Taking a look at his projections, going back to the blitz here, Zay Flowers sitting at 12.5 fantasy score. He's projected for 14.5 fantasy score on the blitz, going up against Dallas, so that one's looking pretty good. Zay Flowers over here on Fantasy Labs, they've got him at 14.86, so pretty consistent. 2 or more fantasy score higher on both of those projection models. And then as far as Zay Flowers' game logs this season, he's 1 for 2. He did go under against Kansas City with 11.1 fantasy score, but came back in a big way against the Raiders with 22.1 fantasy score in that game. So again, hopefully both teams are looking to run the score up, both the Baltimore Ravens and the Dallas Cowboys, but the projection models seem to like Zay Flowers to go for more than 12.5 fantasy score. And they're a whole lot smarter than I am typically. So I'm going to lean on these projection models until I get smarter than them. which will be never. Spoiler alert, never. The last pick on today's video is going to be Chris Olave. We're going back to that Philadelphia Eagles New Orleans Saints game. Olave sitting at 5.5 receptions. I'm leaning toward the under. This might be my least favorite play out of them all, just because this one feels like it could be a little trappy, let's call it, right? A little trappy. He's gone under, well under 5.5 receptions in both games that he's played thus far. Philadelphia's pass defense, not the best, but also not the worst. They're kind of in the middle so far after a couple of games under their belt. But Olave is a plus EV play to go under 5.5 receptions. I'll show you that here. 53.77% chance that he stays under 5.5 receptions. So five or fewer catches, and we actually cash this play out. You're seeing minus 127 betting favorite over on Pinnacle, minus 140 on sites like FanDuel, minus 135 over on BetMGM, minus 137 on Caesar. So all the juice, all the money that people are betting on these sports books is on the under here for Olave to have 5 or fewer receptions, going up against the likes of Darius Slay and Quinyon Mitchell. So we'll see how things kind of shape up here. But as far as the projections go, I've got those for you. So let's take a look at the receptions category, and we'll go Olave. And he's projected for 5 receptions, so 5 or fewer, like I said, and we'll be in good shape here. So he is projected to go slightly under the 5.5 marker. Going back over to the blitz and checking where he's at there. We'll just punch his name in, go over to the receiver receptions category on PrizePicks, and you can see he's projected for 5 receptions there as well. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of small. Anyway, 5 receptions on the blitz. As far as how he's done this season on that number, like I said, 2 for 2. Only 2 receptions against Carolina, only 4 against Dallas. So he has stayed under in both games. And now he's taken on a Philadelphia Eagles defense that's kind of, like I said, middle of the pack. They rank 13th according to Outlier in receptions allowed. So if you want to get your hands on Outlier, I've got a 7-day free pass for you. Go check out the description of today's video for the Outlier 7-day free pass. And you can get access to all these wonderful stats, all this information, all these visual graphs. Take it for a spin for 7 days, and you might just like it enough to keep it longer than a week. Anyway, Olave under 5.5 receptions is the last play of the video. What do you guys think of these, man? Leave a comment down in the comment section below. Run those likes up. Let's see if we can get over 200 likes like we did in the last one. I appreciate all the love and support. I hope these picks work out. If they don't, no problem. We'll be back in another video real soon for Monday Night Football. Run the likes up if you want to see a Monday Night Football video, gang. Good luck on all your picks, plays, and parlays. Catch you in the next one.